The flat tire couldn't have happened on a worse day. Quinn Dawson slammed his palm against the steering wheel of his ancient Honda Civic, parked haphazardly on the shoulder of Route 32. Rain pattered against the windshield in a steady rhythm that matched the pounding in his head. In the back seat, 5-year-old Emma clutched her stuffed rabbit, eyes wide with concern. "Are we going to be late to my doctor, Daddy?" she asked, her small voice barely audible over the rain. Quinn checked his watch, 3:17 p.m. Emma's appointment with the specialist was at 4 o'clock, and they were still 40 minutes from the city. He forced a smile. "Don't worry, sweetheart, we'll figure something out." The brave face he put on was for her benefit, not his. The reality was crushing. He had exactly $43.76 in his checking account until payday, no roadside assistance, and a spare tire that had given up the ghost months ago. "I'm going to look at the tire, okay? You stay put." He grabbed his worn jacket from the passenger seat. "But it's raining, Daddy." "I know, Em. I'll be super quick." Quinn stepped out into the downpour, immediately feeling the cold water seep through his threadbare jacket. The rear driver's side tire was completely flat, the rubber torn where he must have hit something on the highway. Quinn knelt in the mud, rain dripping down his neck, and contemplated his options. Emma's appointment had taken 3 months to secure. The specialist who might finally have answers about her mysterious recurring fevers wasn't known for rescheduling easily. Missing it wasn't an option. The harsh glare of headlights illuminated the dreary scene as another car slowed on the highway. Quinn squinted through the rain as a sleek black Tesla pulled onto the shoulder ahead of him, its electric engine nearly silent. The driver's door opened, and out stepped a woman in a charcoal gray pantsuit, opening an umbrella with a practiced flick of her wrist. "Need some help?" she called over the sound of the rain. Quinn stood up, suddenly aware of his soaked jeans and muddy hands. Flat tire, no spare. The woman approached, her expensive leather shoes somehow avoiding the worst of the mud. Under the umbrella, Quinn could see she was roughly his age, early 30s, with sharp features framed by a neat bob of dark hair. "I'm Penelope Warren," she said, extending a hand that Quinn awkwardly wiped his own against his jeans before shaking. "Where were you headed, Quinn Dawson?" "My daughter has an appointment in the city." He glanced back at the car where Emma was pressing her face against the window, fogging the glass with her breath. "It's important." Penelope's eyes followed his to the little girl in the back seat. Something in her expression softened. "I'm headed to the city myself. I could give you both a ride." Quinn hesitated. Pride warred with practicality in his mind. A stranger offering help seemed suspicious, but the genuine concern in Penelope's eyes was unmistakable. And Emma needed to see that doctor. "That's really kind, but what about my car? I can't just leave it here." "I'll call a tow service," she replied, already pulling out her phone. "They can take it to a garage in the city. You can deal with it after your daughter's appointment." Within minutes, Penelope had arranged everything, speaking with an authoritative ease that suggested she was used to making things happen. Quinn gathered Emma and their essentials while Penelope finalized details with the tow company. "This is Emma," Quinn said as they approached Penelope's car. "Em, this is Miss Warren. She's going to give us a ride to the doctor." Emma clutched her rabbit tighter, sizing up the stranger with solemn eyes. "Your car is pretty," she finally said. Penelope smiled. "Thank you. It's electric, no gas. Would you like to see inside?" The Tesla's interior was immaculate, all cream leather and brushed metal. Quinn hesitated before settling Emma into the back seat, acutely aware of their wet clothes on the pristine upholstery. "I'm sorry about the mess we're making," he apologized as he slid into the passenger seat. "It's just water," Penelope replied, tapping the car's touchscreen. "What's the address for the appointment?" "Children's Memorial, the specialist wing." Penelope nodded, entering the destination. As they pulled back onto the highway, Quinn noticed the time, 3:32. They might actually make it. The Tesla moved smoothly through the rain, its quiet hum a stark contrast to the rattling of his Honda. Quinn stole glances at their savior, trying to place her. Expensive car, tailored suit, the casual way she'd arranged a tow truck without asking about cost. She was clearly successful. "A lawyer maybe, or a corporate executive. What kind of specialist are you seeing?" Penelope asked after a few minutes of silence. Immunologist, Quinn replied. Emma's had these recurring fevers for almost a year. Our regular doctor finally referred us when the last round of tests came back inconclusive. From the back seat, Emma piped up, "The doctor's going to fix my hot days." Penelope met the child's eyes in the rearview mirror. "Hot days, huh? That doesn't sound fun." "They're not," Emma agreed seriously. "Daddy has to miss work when I get them, and then we don't have as many groceries." Quinn felt heat rise to his face. "Emma, it's okay," Penelope said quietly. "Kids are honest, that's a good thing." She changed lanes smoothly, weaving through traffic that was growing heavier as they approached the city. "What do you do, Quinn?" "Construction mainly, some handyman work on the side." He didn't add that since his wife had left 2 years ago, childcare costs meant he often had to turn down jobs when Emma was sick, creating a financial spiral that seemed impossible to escape. "My daddy can fix anything," Emma announced proudly from the back seat. "Except cars." Quinn laughed despite himself. "She's right about that." Penelope smiled, her eyes crinkling at the corners. There was something disarming about her, a warmth that contrasted with her polished exterior. "Everyone has their expertise. And what's yours?" Quinn asked, "if you don't mind me asking." She hesitated for a moment. "I solve problems, for companies mainly." "That's vague." "I suppose it is." Her lips curved into a half smile. "Let's just say I help turn things around when they're going badly." They arrived at Children's Memorial with 15 minutes to spare. Quinn turned to thank Penelope, already reaching for the door handle. "Wait," she said, reaching into her purse. She pulled out a business card and scribbled something on the back. "My personal number. Call me when you're finished, and I'll give you a ride to the garage where they're taking your car." Quinn stared at the card. The front was minimal, featuring only her name, Warren Innovations, and a phone number. "I can't ask you to wait around, we could be hours. I have meetings in the city." "It's no trouble." Her tone made it clear she wouldn't take no for an answer. "Really?" Quinn pocketed the card, helped Emma out of the car, and watched the Tesla glide away into traffic. Only then did he look more closely at the business card, Warren Innovations. The name niggled at something in his memory. The appointment went better than Quinn had dared to hope. The specialist, Dr. Reynolds, was thorough and kind. She ordered some additional tests but had a working theory about Emma's condition, a rare but treatable autoimmune response. For the first time in months, Quinn felt a flicker of hope as they sat in the hospital cafeteria afterward, Emma happily sipping apple juice. "So do we call the nice lady now?" Emma asked, kicking her feet under the table. Quinn pulled out the business card, turning it over in his fingers. "Yeah, I guess we do." Penelope answered on the second ring as if she'd been waiting for his call. "How did it go?" she asked without preamble. Quinn found himself explaining the doctor's diagnosis, surprised by how easily the words flowed. There was something about Penelope's attentive silence that invited confidence. "That's excellent news," she said when he finished. "I'm at the Archer building on 12th. I can be there in 20 minutes. True to her word, the black Tesla pulled up outside the hospital exactly 20 minutes later. Emma waved excitedly, any earlier shyness gone. "Miss Penelope, the doctor says I might have autoimmune response," she announced as she climbed into the back seat. "Autoimmune response," Quinn corrected gently, settling beside his daughter. "Thank you again for this, you've saved us today." Penelope smiled, her eyes meeting his in the rearview mirror. "It's nice to be useful in a concrete way. Most of my work is abstract." The garage was across town, a reputable place that Quinn had never been able to afford. The tow truck driver had already delivered his Honda, and the mechanic gave Quinn the bad news. Not just a new tire, but alignment issues and brake problems that would cost over $1,000 to fix. Quinn felt the blood drain from his face. Even with careful budgeting, that kind of expense would take months to save for. "Can I talk to you a moment?" Penelope asked the mechanic, stepping away from Quinn and Emma. They conferred quietly, Penelope's expression giving nothing away. After a few minutes, she returned. "They can have it ready tomorrow afternoon," she said simply. Quinn frowned. "Did you not hear what he said? I can't afford, my company has an account here," she interrupted smoothly. "Consider it handled." "I can't accept that." Quinn's pride, the one thing he still had plenty of, reared its head. I don't take charity. Penelope's expression hardened slightly. It's not charity, it's networking. You mentioned you do construction work. My company is renovating an old warehouse space for a new tech incubator. We're having trouble with the contractor delays, quality issues. Maybe you could take a look, give us a second opinion. We'd pay you for your time, of course. Quinn studied her face, suspicion warring with desperate hope. Why would you trust a stranger with something like that? I'm a good judge of character, Penelope replied, her gaze unwavering. And Emma says you can fix anything. The mention of his daughter made Quinn glance over to where Emma was examining a vintage Mustang on display with fascination. Except cars, he added ruefully. Exactly why I'm handling this part. Penelope smiled, and Quinn found himself returning it before he could think better of it. You're very persuasive, Miss Warren. Penny, she corrected. And yes, I am. It's part of the job. With the car situation settled, the next problem loomed, getting home. Their apartment was a 30-minute drive from the city in good traffic. I can drop you both, Penelope offered immediately when Quinn mentioned needing to find a bus. You've done more than enough. We couldn't, Dad, Emma interrupted, suddenly appearing at his side. I'm hungry. Can we get dinner? Quinn checked his wallet reflexively, knowing exactly what was there. We have food at home, Em. I know a great pizza place nearby, Penelope suggested. My treat to celebrate Emma's successful doctor visit. The look of delight on Emma's face made it impossible for Quinn to refuse. They ended up at a cozy Italian restaurant where the staff greeted Penelope by name, ushering them to a quiet corner booth. Emma was enchanted by the paper tablecloth she could draw on with crayons, while Quinn found himself relaxing for the first time all day. Over pizza and pasta, conversation flowed surprisingly easily. Quinn learned that Penelope had built her company from scratch after leaving a high-pressure job in finance. She spoke passionately about sustainable business practices and creating opportunities in underserved communities. That's why the Tech Incubator project is so important, she explained, twirling linguine around her fork. It's bringing jobs and training to an area that really needs it. Quinn nodded, impressed despite himself. And your contractor is messing it up. Not intentionally, I think. They're just overextended, she shrugged. We're considering switching companies, but that would mean more delays. I could take a look this weekend, Quinn offered. Give you my honest assessment. I'd appreciate that. Penelope's smile was warm, and Quinn felt something stir in his chest that he hadn't experienced in a long time. After dinner, Penelope drove them home, Emma falling asleep in the back seat halfway there. Quinn gave directions to their apartment complex, increasingly conscious of the contrast between Penelope's world and his own. The Tesla looked out of place in the parking lot of Oak Ridge Apartments, a development that had seen better days 20 years ago. Quinn gently carried Emma from the car, her head lolling against his shoulder. Thank you, he said quietly to Penelope, standing awkwardly by her car. For everything today, I don't know what we would have done without you. I'm glad I could help. She handed him another business card, this one with her office address. Saturday at 10 a.m. for the site visit. I'll text you the details. Quinn nodded, shifting Emma's weight in his arms. I'll be there. Penelope hesitated, then reached out to brush a strand of hair from Emma's forehead. She's a remarkable little girl. You've done a good job with her. The simple compliment caught Quinn off guard, emotion tightening his throat. I'm trying, he managed. That's all any of us can do. With a final smile, Penelope got back into her car and drove away, leaving Quinn standing in the dim light of the parking lot, wondering if the entire surreal day had been a dream. Saturday arrived crisp and clear. Quinn had spent the previous evening researching Warren innovations, finally recognizing the name from business news his father used to follow. Penelope wasn't just successful, she was a billionaire tech entrepreneur whose sustainable energy solutions had revolutionized several industries. The realization made him nervous about the site visit, but he was determined to provide honest value for her help. The warehouse was in an industrial district that had seen better days. Quinn arrived early, clipboard in hand, ready to make a professional impression. Penelope was already there, dressed down in jeans and a simple button-up shirt, hair pulled back in a ponytail. The casual attire made her seem more approachable, though no less commanding. "You came," she said, sounding genuinely pleased. "I said I would." Quinn shook her extended hand, noting the strength in her grip. For the next 2 hours, they walked through the site together. Quinn pointed out issues with the electrical work, problems with the HVAC installation, and shortcuts the contractors had taken with the structural reinforcement. Penelope took notes, asked intelligent questions, and listened carefully to his explanations. "So what's your assessment?" she finally asked as they stood in what would eventually be the main workspace. "They're cutting corners to save time, not money," Quinn concluded. "The materials are quality, but the workmanship isn't. I'd guess they're spread too thin across multiple projects and rushing this one." Penelope nodded, looking grim. "That's what I suspected. What would you recommend?" "Honestly, start over with the electrical. The HVAC can be salvaged with proper installation. The structural work needs reinforcement, but it's not a complete redo." Quinn hesitated, then added, "I know some guys, good workers, who got laid off from Meridian Construction last month. They'd be grateful for the work. Would you lead them?" The question caught him off guard. "What?" "I'm offering you a job, Quinn, project manager for the renovation. We'll hire your team, pay you all fairly, and get this done right." Quinn stared at her, searching for the catch. "I'm a site worker, not management." "You just spent 2 hours showing me exactly why you should be management." Penelope's expression was earnest. "I need someone who sees what I see, potential in things others have written off." The parallel to his own life wasn't lost on Quinn. A single father struggling to make ends meet, living in a neighborhood most people avoided, fighting for his daughter's health when others might have given up. "Why are you doing this?" he asked quietly. "The car, the doctor, the job offer, you don't know me." Penelope was silent for a moment, her gaze turning to the dusty windows where sunlight filtered through in hazy beams. "When I was 8, my mother's car broke down on the way to a job interview. We were living in a shelter at the time. A stranger stopped to help, gave us a ride. Mom got the job, and eventually we got back on our feet." She turned back to Quinn. "Sometimes one act of kindness can change everything." Quinn didn't know what to say. The sincerity in her eyes was unmistakable. "Besides," she continued with a small smile, "I'm a businesswoman. I recognize talent when I see it. This isn't charity, it's an investment." Over the next few weeks, Quinn assembled a team and began work on the renovation. The job paid better than anything he'd had before, with regular hours that allowed him to be home with Emma in the evenings. Her health improved with the new treatment Dr. Reynolds had prescribed, and the hot days became less frequent. Penelope visited the site regularly, often staying to discuss progress or suggest modifications to the plans. Quinn found himself looking forward to these visits, impressed by her technical knowledge and practical approach to problems. There was no hint of the entitled billionaire in her interactions with the workers. She knew most of them by name within days, asked about their families, and brought coffee and donuts on cold mornings. One evening, after reviewing updated blueprints together, Penelope noticed the time. "It's late, you should get home to Emma." "She's at a sleepover tonight," Quinn replied, surprised to realize they'd been working for hours. "First one since she started the new medication. Big milestone." "That's wonderful," Penelope said with genuine warmth. "You must be relieved." "And a little lost," Quinn admitted with a laugh. "I've forgotten what to do with a free evening." Penelope hesitated, then asked, "Hungry?" They ended up at a small bistro near the warehouse, sharing a bottle of wine and talking long after their plates were cleared. Quinn found himself opening up about his ex-wife's departure, the struggles of single parenthood, and his dreams of someday starting his own construction company focused on sustainable renovation. "You could do it," Penelope said, refilling their glasses. "You have the skills, the vision, and the work ethic. Just not the capital," Quinn added with a wry smile. "That's the easiest part to solve," she replied, her eyes holding his. "For you, maybe." There was no bitterness in his tone, just simple acknowledgement of reality. "Do you know how I started Warren Innovations?" she asked suddenly. "With a patent I developed in college and a loan from the one professor who believed in me. Everyone needs someone to take a chance on them." The way she was looking at him made Quinn wonder if they were still talking about business. The candlelight caught the amber flecks in her eyes, and he found himself noticing the curve of her lips, the elegant line of her neck. "Would you like to have dinner again sometime?" He asked before he could talk himself out of it. Not to discuss work, just dinner. A slow smile spread across Penelope's face. "I'd like that very much." Their first official date was the following weekend. Quinn arranged for Emma to stay with his sister and took Penelope to a small jazz club he'd discovered years ago. It wasn't fancy, but the music was excellent and the atmosphere intimate. To his relief, Penelope seemed genuinely delighted, swaying to the music and declaring the hole-in-the-wall venue perfect. "You're not what I expected," Quinn admitted as they walked along the riverfront afterward. "What did you expect?" she asked, her shoulder occasionally brushing against his. "Someone more pretentious, unapproachable, cold, all of the above," he acknowledged with a laugh. Penelope stopped walking, turning to face him. "Money changes how people see you, not necessarily who you are. I've never forgotten what it was like before the struggle, the uncertainty. It keeps me grounded." Quinn studied her face in the moonlight, struck by how beautiful she was when speaking from the heart. "I think you'd be extraordinary regardless of your bank account." He hadn't planned to kiss her that night, but when she rose on her toes to meet him halfway, it felt as natural as breathing. Her lips were soft against his, her hands warm as they gripped the front of his jacket. When they broke apart, both slightly breathless, Quinn knew he was in danger of falling for her completely. The weeks that followed took on a dreamlike quality. The renovation project progressed ahead of schedule. Emma took to Penelope immediately, especially after discovering they shared a love of space exploration and mathematics. Their time together felt increasingly like family outings rather than casual dates, trips to the science museum, Sunday morning pancake competitions, movie nights with Emma falling asleep between them on the couch. But doubt lingered in Quinn's mind. Their worlds were so different. He lived paycheck to paycheck in a 2-bedroom apartment. She owned multiple properties across the country. He worried about affording Emma's medications. She donated millions to medical research annually. The disparity seemed insurmountable at times. The issue came to a head 3 months into their relationship. Penelope had invited Quinn and Emma to her lake house for the weekend, a stunning modern structure of glass and stone overlooking calm waters. While Emma explored the property with childish delight, Quinn felt increasingly out of place among the casual luxury. "You've been quiet today," Penelope observed as they sat on the deck watching Emma skip stones across the water. Quinn sighed, knowing he couldn't avoid the conversation any longer. "I don't belong here, Penny, in this world, your world." Her expression clouded. "What are you talking about, this?" He gestured to the lake house, the private dock, the expansive grounds. "I can't compete with this. I can't offer you anything close to what you're used to." "I'm not asking you to," she replied, her voice tense. "Not now, maybe, but eventually the novelty will wear off. You'll realize that dating someone who worries about making rent isn't charming, it's exhausting." Penelope stood abruptly. "Don't tell me what I'll think or feel. And don't reduce what we have to some charity case fantasy. That's not what I meant, isn't it? You think I'm with you out of some savior complex, that I'm slumming it for the experience." Anger flashed in her eyes. "I'm with you because you're honest and kind and passionate about what matters. Because you're an incredible father who puts his daughter above everything. Because when you talk about your dreams, I can see them too." Quinn was stunned into silence by her vehemence. "Do you know what it's like to date when you're me?" she continued more quietly. "Everyone wants something, access to my connections, investment in their startup, a trophy on their arm. You're the first man in years who sees me, not my bank account." Emma looked up from the shoreline, sensing the tension even from a distance. Quinn raised a hand to wave, reassuring her everything was okay. "I'm scared," he admitted when Emma returned to her stone skipping. "Not of your money, but of what happens if this doesn't work out. Emma's already attached to you, I'm already." He swallowed hard. "I'm falling in love with you, Penny, and that terrifies me." The anger drained from Penelope's face, replaced by something softer, more vulnerable. "It scares me too, but not enough to stop." She took his hand, twining their fingers together. I don't care about the disparity in our bank accounts. I care that when I had a migraine last week, you brought soup to my office and dimmed the lights without me asking. I care that you remember how I take my coffee and that you text me good morning every day. That's the wealth that matters to me. Quinn pulled her closer, resting his forehead against hers. I'm sorry, I've been in my own head too much. Talk to me next time instead of deciding what I think. She pressed a gentle kiss to his lips. And for the record, I'm falling in love with you too, both of you. That evening, after Emma had gone to bed in the guest room, Quinn and Penelope sat by the fireplace, planning the tech incubator's grand opening the following month. The renovation was nearly complete, a transformation that paralleled the changes in Quinn's own life. I've been thinking, Penelope said, setting aside her tablet. The incubator needs an on-site facilities manager. Someone who understands the building from the ground up, who can oversee maintenance and future modifications. Quinn raised an eyebrow. Another job offer, a career opportunity, she corrected, with equity in the project. It would mean stability, benefits, and the chance to build something lasting. You don't have to keep creating positions for me, Quinn said, though the prospect was undeniably appealing. I'm not. The position exists and you're the most qualified person I know for it. She reached for his hand. This isn't about us, it's about what makes business sense. Quinn searched her face and found only sincerity. I'll think about it. A year after the day his tire went flat on Route 32, Quinn stood in the courtyard of what was now the Warren Innovation Hub, watching entrepreneurs and tech workers stream into the building he'd helped bring back to life. The facilities management role had evolved into a partnership position with Penelope's sustainable construction division, allowing him to pursue his dream of environmentally responsible renovation while providing security for his family. Emma, now 6 and fully recovered from her autoimmune condition, darted between guests at the hub's anniversary celebration, proudly showing off her building to anyone who would listen. She's going to be running the place by next year, Penelope said, appearing at his side with 2 glasses of champagne. Her simple engagement ring caught the sunlight, a band of recycled gold with a small, ethically sourced diamond that Quinn had insisted on saving for himself, despite her protests that it wasn't necessary. She gets her ambition from you, Quinn replied, accepting the glass and placing a kiss on her cheek. Penelope laughed. She was ambitious before she met me. Remember how she instructed the moving crew where to put every box when we merged our households? The memory made Quinn smile. Their home, a modest but comfortable house halfway between the city and the suburbs, had become a perfect blend of their lives. Penelope had adapted to family dinners and school drop-offs with surprising ease, while Quinn had learned to navigate the occasional charity gala and board meeting. Have I told you today how lucky I am that you got a flat tire? Penelope asked, leaning into his side. Only twice, Quinn replied, wrapping an arm around her waist, but I'm the lucky one. Not everyone gets rescued by a billionaire with a heart of gold. And not every billionaire finds a struggling dad who teaches her what really matters. Penelope's eyes softened as she watched Emma chatting animatedly with one of the young entrepreneurs. I found my family that day on Route 32. Quinn felt the same certainty that had been growing in him for months, that some things were meant to be, that sometimes the universe conspired to bring together exactly the right people at exactly the right moment. To flat tires, he said, raising his glass. Penelope's smile was radiant as she clinked her glass against his. To the journeys they start. As the celebration continued around them, Quinn realized that the distance between their worlds had never really been about money. It had been about recognizing worth in himself, in the potential of abandoned buildings, in the everyday magic of creating a family from unexpected beginnings. And in that recognition, they had built something more valuable than any fortune, a love that transformed them both.